British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon. Welcome to BCIT's The Crow. I'm Selena Teixeira, and here's your latest news for 3:30. The head of the Union of BC Municipalities says the issues of street disorder, homelessness, and mental health will be the top of mind when leaders of the local governments gather in Victoria for their annual convention this week. Coquitlam Councillor Trish Mendio says they want to see more action on those issues from the provincial government because communities are affected by the number of people living with mental health and addiction issues on the streets. Mandio says the local governments are doing their best to help those people, but the government isn't doing enough to add supportive housing, detox, and addiction treatments. The conference will wrap up with a speech from Premier David Eby. The Metro Vancouver Zero Waste Committee has received a staff report indicating there's been an increase of 888 million disposables of single-use items. As our reporter Braden Coombs has more, the modified fiber utensils are a contributing factor.
Modified fiber utensils have seen a significant rise in their usage. It replaced the single-use plastic items that have been banned since 2023. Craig Hodge, the vice chair of the Metro Vancouver Zero Waste Committee, believes the increase in food deliveries is a factor. However, Hodge is confused as he believes customers should have access to their own cutlery at home.
The first one that I find concerning is the increase in modified fiber utensils. And to me, if food's being delivered to the home, there's no need to have utensils delivered to the home because you've got utensils in your kitchen.
The recycled utensils are compostable, yet they are still finding their way into the trash. Braden Coombs, BCIT News.
The province of Alberta, once a national leader in minimum wage, is set to soon have the lowest such pay rate in Canada. The current rate of $15 an hour was set in 2018 by then Premier Rachel Notley's NDP government, making it the highest minimum wage in Canada. But Alberta has not adjusted the rate since, while other provinces have boosted theirs. On October 1st, Saskatchewan is set to increase its minimum wage to $15.35 an hour from $15, a move that will officially make Alberta's rate the lowest in Canada. Alberta opposition NDP leader Naheed Neshi says Albertans coping with high costs need help. Neshi urged Smith's United Conservative government to boost the minimum wage and index it to inflation. Canadian fresh mushrooms are the latest target of the U.S. trade angst.
U.S.-based Fresh Mushroom Fair Trade Coalition has filed a petition asking for anti-dumping and countervailing duties on fresh mushrooms from Canada to offset what it calls, quote, unfair pricing and subsidization. Now the U.S. International Trade Commission will be investigating whether the American industry has been materially injured or threatened with material injury by imported mushrooms alleged to have been sold at less than fair value and subsidized by the Canadian government. Mushrooms Canada says the claims have no merit and is confident the investigations will confirm the industry's compliance with rules-based trade. Naira Ahmed, The Canadian Press.
The Saskatchewan Party members of a legislative committee have rejected a bid by the opposition NDP to expand the auditor's probe into the problems with the province's wildfire-fighting aircraft. The rejection came after NDP leader Hugh Gordon asked the legislator's all-party Public Accounts Committee to approve a broader investigation by Auditor Tara Clement. The 4 members of the Saskatchewan Party on the committee did not ask to speak to the motion before voting it down as a block 4-2. Saskatchewan Party Committee member Sean Wilson declined to comment to reporters on the rejection, except to point to a previous statement from Premier Scott Moe's office that says the province is committed to a robust wildfire response. The NDP motion urged the auditor to investigate why 4 water bombers were grounded during the worst wildfire season that scorched a northern village and left 10,000 people out of their homes. It also asked for a review into how 4 new firefighting planes were purchased amid allegations the province did not fairly award the contract and spent $100 million more than it should. But the auditor has already promised to look into that. The NDP is seeking answers after almost half the province's water bombers were grounded in June during the worst of a wildfire season, which destroyed half of the village of Denair Beach near the Manitoba boundary. Health Minister Josie Osborne says 3,000 U.S. healthcare workers are expressing, quote, strong interest in relocating to BC. Osborne says it is not surprising that many American health workers are looking to BC when they see what's happening in their country, including the, quote, erosion of rights, disregard of science, and the denial of universal health care.
And now, with more U.S. doctors and nurses who are joining our workforce, we will reduce wait times, improve access, and strengthen team-based care across the province.
On to international news. President Donald Trump suggested the use of Tylenol during pregnancy may contribute to rising autism rates in the U.S., stating that, quote, I think we found an answer. A potential link experts have studied and say is unproven. Speaking Monday from the White House, the president said women should not take Tylenol during their pregnancy. He also unfounded concerns about vaccines. The Trump administration has been under immense pressure from Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s diverse Make America Healthy Again movement to provide answers on the causes of the marked increase in autism cases in the U.S. in recent years. Jimmy Kimmel's Late Night Show will be reinstated as ABC plans to re-sign him.
ABC says Jimmy Kimmel's Late Night Show will return Tuesday night. Kimmel was suspended last week after saying this about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Kimmel supporters stood by him, like fellow host Stephen Colbert.
That is blatant censorship.
ABC says we have spent the last days having thoughtful conversations with Jimmy and reached the decision to return the show. President Trump called the suspension great news for America.
You know what suspended him? His talent. You know what else is really what? Take a look at this guy, his ratings. That's what got Jimmy Kimmel out. He was terrible.
FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr denies he threatened to revoke ABC's local station licenses because of what Kimmel said. I'm Ed Donahue.
French President Emmanuel Macron says France is officially recognizing the state of Palestine. The move came during a UN conference chaired by France and Saudi Arabia, aimed at generating new support for a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, which long precedes the ongoing war in the Gaza Strip. The meeting and expanded recognition of the Palestinian statehood are expected to have little, if any, actual impact on the ground, where Israel is waging another major offensive in the Gaza Strip and expanding settlements in the occupied West Bank. Russia and Ukraine are accusing each other of deadly drone strikes on civilian areas, as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky anticipates a busy week at the UN General Assembly in New York. He aims to boost a U.S.-led peace effort. He has already offered a ceasefire and a summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin. However, Moscow has issues with some of the proposals, and peace still seems like a distant possibility. Concerns have grown over the conflict that could spread beyond Ukraine. European countries have rebuked Russia for including drones landing in Poland. Zelensky plans to meet with world leaders to gather support against Russia's invasion. Now what's new in the sports world? The Vancouver Canucks have just signed two star prospects from their training camp. The players are Riley Patterson and Gabriel Chiarot. Each have been given a 3-year entry-level contract. They have been since reassigned to their respective OHL teams, Patterson playing for the Niagara Ice Dogs and Chiarot's back with the Brampton Steelheads. The Canadian Football League has announced changes to how the game is being played. Reporter James Nyo has more on what changes are being made.
On Monday morning, CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnston announced major changes to the league. Some changes include a shorter field, moving the goalposts to the back of the end zone, and a 35-second play clock. BC Lions Communications Manager Matt Baker says that despite all of the changes, the league has at least made sure that the CFL keeps its uniqueness.
The Canadian Football League has always been unique. We always prided on being unique, and I don't want it to necessarily lose some of that, right? But hey, if it helps us become a better league and a better product, I think you have to take that as a good thing.
The new rules will be implemented for the 2027 season. James Ngo, BCIT News.
With these recent changes, Nathan Rook, quarterback of the BC Lions, called these CFL rules garbage amidst the trade. As the new rules have just been announced, the quarterback spoke about how no players or management were consulted in the midst of the announcement.
The moment has finally come. One of these two players will be remembered for eternity in the history of football.
One of the two, Ousmane Dembele or Lamine Yamal.
Dembele.
Ousmane Dembele has won the Ballon d'Or for Best Player in the World for France football, and the women's winner is Aitana Bonmati. The Dallas Cowboys say CeeDee Lamb sustained a high ankle sprain in a 31-14 loss to Chicago. The injury figures to sideline the star receiver at least one game and possibly more. The club executive vice president of personnel, Stephen Jones, revealed the extent of the injury on his radio show. Jones indicated it would be difficult for Lamb to play Sunday when Micah Parsons and the Green Bay Packers visit. Lamb was injured on a running play the first time he touched the ball against the Bears. He lined up in the backfield and took a handoff. Major League Baseball owners have unanimously approved the sale of the Tampa Bay Rays to a group led by the real estate developer Patrick Zalewski. The transfer from Stu Sternberg's group is expected to close soon. Sternberg took control of the team in 2005 and rebranded it as the Rays after the 2007 season. Kara Larson helped the U.S. women's baseball team. Oh my God. Win an Olympic gold medal as a player did 17 years ago. Now she'll have a chance to lead it to another as a coach in the 2028 Los Angeles Games. That was your news for the rest of the day. My name is Selena Teixeira, and you're listening to BCIT's The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
I would recommend this program for anyone that isn't sure what kind of job they want in media, because you learn everything from like public relations to communications to video editing, like radio, TV. So you do get a lot of experience in all the different fields in media.